Welcome back to my Super Metroid 100% item collection rate guide and walkthrough. We have just defeated Crocomire, and in this part, which is pretty lengthy as you can see by the video length, this is mainly dedicated to item cleanup, part 1. So, I'm going to be ranting and raving up a little bit as my air conditioner turns on, but you know what, fuck that shit. I'm going to not have that on right now. It's actually not too bad, so I'll save the electric bill. So one thing I want to clear up is that people are going to misconstrue saying that despite me saying that this game is really good, that I still find Doom to be a lot more replayable. I don't want people saying that this game isn't good. It definitely is. It's just I prefer Doom personally. This is a great 2D game, and don't get me wrong, I am very much excited for Dread, assuming it follows the same footsteps as this in terms of its technical depth, because this game has a lot of tech, honestly. It's pretty good shit, honestly. It's and so does Doom, but I know these two games are pretty different beasts. And well, this one's one complete pack, where Doom, they had to do a second version of that just to make sure that there is all the good stuff, which is kind of sad. But anyway, in this room, you want to use the power bombs, and like I said in the last part, try not to spam your ice beam. Ice beam! Because Samus, for some reason, can't use her speed booster to clear it away, so you'll want to be careful. As you can see, I don't really have a lot of power bombs left, but we'll also be heading back to the surface in order to stock up on power bombs, since you can only use your ship in order to get the maximum stock of your arsenal. So we'll definitely be going back around the end of the video, so stay tuned. But as much as I really like this game, there is definitely one section of the game that really pisses me off and I hate playing through it no matter how many times I play, and that is Meridia. And as much as I want to rant about Meridia right now, I really want to save that section for when it comes, because if I were to describe how much I hate Meridia, you would think that I would be hating this game like I do with a lot of newer games and reboots of certain games that just really annoy the piss out of me. And I really hope to God that Metroid Dread, as much as I'm really looking forward to it, does not emulate this bullshit. Like, seriously, Meridia is just stupid. Anyway, speaking of stupid, we got the grappling beam, which is not a stupid item. It's actually a very useful item. My problem with it, though, is that it's just... First of all, it's... In order to get the maximum range on it, you have to hold the button. It doesn't go forward automatically. Like, what the hell kind of shit is that? Whoever thought that was a good idea needs to be fired. I don't care if this is a game from fucking the early 90s. That is really bad. I cannot tell you how many times that I have been screwed over, especially in the next installment where I go through wrecked shit, and how many times to fucking re-record that shit, because the grappling beam is just probably the most annoying part of the game besides Meridia. Now, of course, you have this little area to say how it's done by saying fuck that shit, and I just use the ever so lovable wall jump to skip most of it. There is one section that I won't be able to show off, sadly, and I tried going for this twice, I believe, and you're not going to see that because you actually need the gravity suit. Because for some reason, when you don't have the various suit, you cannot fucking wall jump that well, and the game is probably purposely coded with the water so that you can't really wall jump out of it. Therefore, there's really no way of sequence breaking it, and it's really fucking stupid. This better not be a Metroid Dread, I swear to God. I'm really looking forward to that game, but if that game's going to be as simplistic as the other Nintendo games I'm going to be really upset. And look at this shit. How the fuck can you not tell me that fucking Samus Aran acquires a electric power-up and does not affect electricity whatsoever? I know Metroid is far from realistic, but science is still kind of a thing, so what the fuck? Also, funny enough, there's actually entire... Meridia is one just giant section, underwater section, and yet you can use the grappling beam pretty much anywhere and not really worry about being shocked or anything. So I really don't understand what type of substance this grappling beam has that has some sort of electric attack, and yet you get zero repercussions for using it anywhere within underwater. It's really bizarre. Then again, this is the same fucking company who has a Italian plumber who jumps on turtles because they're assholes, led by a father of 8. Yes, I said father of 8, shut up. And freaking in that very same series, Mario can shoot fireballs underwater, so apparently Nintendo does not know what the fuck science is. But yeah, this game is great and I really like it. It's just this game is kind of one of those games that you kind of have to play in bursts. Because this game, even though I do enjoy watching people speedrun this game, or at least I used to, I forget the name of the channel. I'll have to post like a picture and a text of who it is. He used to stream on Twitch. He probably still is. I've gained quite a bit of knowledge watching him. It was actually a really chill dude. I used to love using Twitch to watch stuff back in the day, but I just kind of stopped using it because Twitch is now just a joke. But thankfully, I'm sure there's some decent content creators on Twitch. I just don't really care to use it just for watching other people because I'm not that kind of person. But speaking of kind, there are definitely some things in this game that I really don't care for. First of all, the grappling beam. I don't like how the grappling beam is centered around holding the button to get maximum distance. That's really dumb. Meridia, as I mentioned, is probably one of the worst areas in the game. I mean, not even Metroid Fusion comes this close to having a bunch of bullshit. Maybe with the exception of, like, maybe a couple boss fights and sections, but nowhere near as bad as Meridia. Meridia definitely takes the cake for being the most obnoxious area I've ever played in a Metroid game. Like, I'm sure there's going to probably be some sections in Zero Mission that are going to be just as annoying, but freaking Meridia, I swear to God, it is such an obnoxious area that, much like with the next 2 parts, I had to trim out quite a bit because I get pretty lost in there, and trying to figure out the correct path is just really annoying. Anyway, speaking of annoying, I actually used a power bomb where that door is. We can't go through there yet because we don't have the space jump or the gravity suit. First of all, there is no way in fuck you're getting the space jump without getting the gravity suit. That is just borderline impossible. And even if you were to at least skip the space jump but still get the gravity suit, you would still have to worry about getting soaked in the sun with the lava, because that type of lava, the orange, bright orange, doesn't hurt you, but I guess the bubbly one does. It's really weird. But as you can see, I'm just fucking around, trying to find where the hell I'm supposed to go. As you can see, the fucking stupid fucking ice beam. Ice beam! It just doesn't let you fucking destroy enemies while they're frozen. I really don't get it. Like, you are literally running thousands of miles, like in F-Zero GX, and yet Samus cannot destroy enemies while they're frozen while using a speed booster? It is so dumb. And also, speaking of, again, I know I keep saying it, and I apologize. First of all, here's the map room if you need it. I don't know why they decided to put a freaking locked behind a power bomb. I guess they wanted to have Lower Norfair hidden until later. I think all the Metroid games have a form of Lower Norfair, which is pretty funny actually. But we are now finally leaving Norfair. Thank God. That area can go suck a dong. But we do have to go back to Kraid's lair one more time because there is a missile tank that we couldn't get before, and now we will do so with the assistance of the power bomb. So get psyched. But I don't know. This game is just. I know there's a lot of people who really like this game, and while I absolutely like it myself, it's just not a game I can like go back and replay constantly because it's just. While there's a lot of neat tricks you can do, as I try to do that little trick, and you won't be seeing it all the time, so, you know, my epic gamer skills won't be able to carry through you if you're not good at that sort of thing, but you could always come back when you get the spring ball, but at that point, I'm pretty much already... At this point, as of this recording, I just beat the boss of Meridia, who... Yes, I did use the cheeky exploit. I'm not even sure if it's even worth fighting it legit, because it's just a waste of time. You do need the grappling beam, and you do need quite a bit of energy tank to sort of survive it, but hey, if it means getting through one of the worst areas and getting one of the best items in the game, besides the ill-fated screw attack, shut your face! Gotta miss watching Some Call Me Johnny. And here's a secret area, by the way. You can actually go up here and get a little peek of what's to come, but oh, look at this. A super missile door, so you can't do much. God damn it. Seriously, can you imagine if there was a fucking blue door? You could actually do a very good amount of sequence break. Now, we're back in the Samurai Jack room, as I like to call it. Look at part 3 if you want a good example of that. We are breaking that glass, which I think the demo, shows you how to do this, which is actually funny, since game demos actually show you things that you normally wouldn't think to do, honestly, but of course, we're now once again in submerged water, as we are barely able to make it out because that fucking claw thing. La claw! Speaking of CGI, I often wonder why there was never really a planned Nintendo 64 game of Metroid. It could probably be like that Castlevania game where essentially just does essentially a Metroidvania but in 3D and stuff. It'd be really great. It'd be like the ultimate precursor to Metroid Prime. There probably was one, but it never happened. I'm pretty sure the only actual 3D appearance of Samus before Metroid Prime was her appearance in Super Smash Bros., which, that fucking box, I swear to God, it looked like she was being sucked into some portal, some stuff. It's just weird as hell. It's like, that box always just kind of low-key bothered me, but here we have probably one of the most obnoxious rooms in the game. These things, whether you touch them or not, they will go dim, and if you break too many of these, you can kiss your butt goodbye, because you need to see the light, and now you apparently can freeze them in order to avoid that, so do that. Now, conveniently, these blocks that you need to use in order to Tarzan your way through, or, I'm sorry, not Tarzan, what the fuck was his name? Pitfall your way through? As they do a very cheeky little monkey bar swinging style of going through rooms at a time, as I get fucked with the spikes. Seriously, this room can go fuck itself. I really fucking hate this room. You probably need a lot of fucking energy in order to survive that without the obnoxious grapple beam. But we finally get the X-ray scope, which I won't be using too much unless I get extremely stuck. But this item basically lets you look up and down and using a scope that lets you scan the environment, and you can even tell what blocks are which. It's a great tool. Essentially just says, I wonder what this does. It's essentially like a little cheat sheet, but it's not obnoxious to the point where it shows everything. It just shows you what blocks are, which blocks are false, which blocks are whatever. It's basically like a very handy-dandy visual aid without being obnoxious, like with, what is it, in Metroid Samus Returns, where you literally have an item that exposes part of the map and stuff, which is just weird as fuck. Isn't the whole point of Metroid to explore stuff, and yet they're literally giving you pieces of the map? I mean, what the fuck? This one, while it doesn't cover every single thing, it does usually let you scan the environment, and it's especially helpful if you are a first-timer, since it'll show pretty much everything. Like, if you were to use that visor there, it would tell you what kind of blocks would be needed. Usually these square blocks that are gray means that you have to use bombs to blow those up, while the crumbled ones that look kind of thick, looking like a snack, will let you shoot them. Now, this area can be very tricky. Now, apparently you can do a really mean, lean sequence break, but just fucking shoot up. Use those little hover dudes as platforms. And here is another very obnoxious room. These fucking things just ruin my day. You're essentially stuck in there for a couple seconds, so decide to stop munching and realizing you're not whatever the fuck you're trying to eat. And it just gets extremely obnoxious. Like, it's just rooms like this just totally ruin the flow. And I almost get caught again. Like, what the fuck is this? It's just very, very bad design. You have a great game with great controls, great jumping controls, great maneuverability, and you have shit like that just ruins the game. Like, get rid of it. Anyway, these enemies actually make return in Metroid Fusion. Again, a lot of enemies in Fusion actually do return from this game. It's interesting. Anyway, we have this room, which is not as bullshit surprising, because you actually use the Ice Beam, in order to get the Power Bomb, which I think is where you're supposed to get it, the first actual Power Bomb, but we got that way earlier, it's not even funny, so go ahead and blow up the wall, and you get a missile tank. Seriously, there's so many of these things, it's not even funny. It's just like in the original Metroid, I swear to God. Why the fuck are there so many missile tanks? You don't even need as many. I think 230 is the maximum, and yet you barely need them. You're probably going to use either super missiles or power bombs. You're barely going to use super missiles unless you don't want to waste your fucking power missiles, yeah. No, super missiles. And yeah, I know it's kind of a dumb idea to waste super missiles on those red doors, but shit, it's way better than shooting fucking 5 of those, which I'm pretty sure was inherited from Metroid 1 and 2. I'm very much glad the Zero Mission got gone away with that, because it's a fucking waste of time. But it also means that missiles are even more useless in that game, since it's just obnoxious. Speaking of obnoxious, we have a very weird room. You have to use a power bomb in order to blow this up. Because make sure you blow it up, and this is another one of those weird moments where the one time you think you want to go through there, and yet it's just, oh, here's a gotcha moment. Now, you can probably use the X-ray visor, and if it doesn't show you that, then that is really fucked up, but using this power bomb, unfortunately, means that you're going to give yourself a very dangerous situation since you have the claw, and that little mouthpiece, which will get in your way. And also, once again, as I think I'd try to show off a little secret. I'm probably doing it wrong. I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. I think I might be using the visor thing in a second, I think. Come on, whip it up. Alright, where's the little bastard? Oh, it's right there. Oh, fuck. Boy, I don't feel stupid. You know, we have a fucking green door. You sons of bitches. Those things are total assholes. Seriously, if they were blue, you could do some serious fucking sequence breaking, but nope. Even though this game has a lot of sequence breaks, surprisingly enough, you just cannot sequence break every single little thing. God damn you, Nintendo. Anyway, go ahead and use a power bomb on that door, which, funny enough, you cannot use power bombs to open doors unless they have the yellow variant, which is kind of dumb. Like, they're only really useful for opening doors and solving puzzles. They're not really meant to be used for combat stuff, which is kind of a shame. You like, what, 50 of them? And yet, you barely get anything to work with them besides solving puzzles. And I actually used them accidentally, but since they're not that hard to come by unless you suck. Speaking of the suck, we are now heading back to the surface. We can finally get access to our ship, but first, let's go ahead and use the super missile in order to do this. And here I try to do the shine spark, but I suck at shine sparking because this game is fucking stupid about it. What I think you have to do is that you have to... Well, first of all, what I do, since I'm playing on keyboard, and I actually tested this on Switch, you have to first of all get a running boost, and then you have to also push down while holding forward, or the direction you're going in, and then you enter a state in which you flash for a couple seconds, and then when you jump, I think, and use a direction, you then go ahead and boost in that direction. Because I don't want to waste all my energy, I'm going to say fuck that bullshit and use a bomb jump. Now, this is not a very viable method to get there quickly, but if you want to save yourself the energy, and which honestly, the ship's right fucking there, so you're not going to really die or anything, so I don't think it actually kills you, but because I'm an asshole and showing off my elite gamer skills, I figure go ahead and do a very complicated but hopefully necessary bomb jump, just so you can show how quite versatile I am. And don't worry, I'm not going to be doing this complicated bomb jump, but again, just use the shine spark if you really need it. But if you want to get it without using that, that is probably the only real strategy that might help, because it is pretty high up. But here is another room with these sons of bitches, and I almost come close to dying, actually. I think this is the closest I ever came to dying at this point in the run, which is kind of sad, because I would have to redo at least a good 20 minutes of gameplay if I were to fuck up. Yeah, that would suck, but thankfully I did not die. And Nintendo, as gracious as ever, gave us the blessing of fucking spikes that can hurt you, and they do a good amount of damage. So thanks a bunch, Nintendo. I'd much rather have these spikes than your bullshit DMCAs, though. But let's not get into that bullshit. This is actually a good game, and they definitely deserve credit for making this beauty of a game. Now, I do believe I go back to the ship and get my health because, well, fuck that. We're not fucking going ahead without doing that bullshit, so... I believe this is the section of the video we're going to be going through Brinstar, but first, we're going to be making a little detour and getting probably one of the more infamous missile expansions in the game. Now, I know I tweeted about Trav Guy's video that he did for Super Metroid. Yeah, this guide isn't exactly that old, so I apologize, but... Why do people like him insinuate that this fucking missile expansion requires 2 trips? It is such bullshit. It really is. I've seen speedrunners doing this all the time. You can save yourself 2 trips. You can do it just once. You just have to be very elaborate about it. But let me talk about this section first. This section is really bullshit. You have a bunch of these Medusa flying motherfuckers. You have La Kalaw. You have these walls you have to bomb with the power bomb just to use to get it out of the way. You have like 20 at this point. If you have more, then kudos. You're probably a better player than I'll ever be. But we finally get another energy tank, but... Oh, I guess I take it right away. But yeah, make sure you save those in case you get fucked. Anyway, go ahead and bomb that floor, and this is the part of the video that really pissed me off, because he's like, oh, you have to go through this twice. And I'm like, no, you don't have to do it twice. I'm going to show you a very, very easy check on how to do it twice and not soft lock your game. But look at this fucking bullshit. Nintendo graces us more with spikes that you have to bomb your way through, and fucking claws. Fuck you. Now, here's the part that people do not understand. You see those 2 blocks? Go right in the middle. If you did it correctly, you won't get fucked. However, you have to be quick. Use the power bomb right around there, and you can get both missile expansions, and you save yourself 2 chips. Congratulations, you have saved yourself a boatload of time on your, hopefully, sub 3 hour, or whatever the fuck that terminology means. Seriously, Trav, you're gonna tell me that you're gonna say this and tell me that you have to do this twice when literally in Meridia you have to do just that, except it's even more obnoxious because you have to go so out of the way to do it, and if you don't get the space jump, you're just kind of fucked. Seriously, that fucking part of the guide, I think, gave me temporary carpal tunnel. It's not even funny, and I play with keyboard when it comes to emulation because I'm fucking ballin' like that. I don't know why. I've always used keyboard when I do emulation stuff. It's kind of weird. But anyway, I trimmed it out because at this point I'm going to be trimming out elevator rides because you've already seen them. They're cool, but they're not really worth watching anymore. So we're finally in Brinstar again. We're going to be doing a little bit of collecting. We're going to be bombing this wall, but as per the rule of this game, make sure you go back and destroy the wall, the door. And I believe there's a collectible in this room, or it might be in the next room. I'm not sure. It might be. I think it might be another room. Excuse me. Oh, no, this is the map room. Well, shit. Fuck. Anyway, I do believe there's actually something in here. I might even whip out the visor because I don't remember. I noticed something in here. Might be another. I think it might be in the next room. I think. And there's a save room in case you need it. And yes, I know I said that a little bit late. Excuse me. I just had something to eat a little bit earlier, so you have to excuse me. And this little room, which I don't show off at all, is a neat little recharge room, but again, you have these little fuckers who fucking get in your way because they're assholes. But because I already filled up my shit at the ship, this room is kind of unnecessary, honestly. It's a good little source of energy, I guess, but I'm like, wait a minute, I could have froze these fuckers? Shit. But yeah, if you were going to go for that room and get the X-ray, make sure you freeze them before attempting to make contact. You'll save yourself a few headaches. So this is another point of the run where I believe you get normally introduced for the actual method of shine sparking, which basically involves, oh, the fuck? There we go. So, at some point, you're probably thinking, okay, we're gonna run through, and I'm like, ah, shit, you're down in this fucking little room, and I'm like, ah, shit, what the fuck are you gonna do? Well, I forgot what the creature is, but that actually does make an appearance in Metroid Fusion, so their fate is actually canon. So, I'll elaborate on that a little bit later. But anyway, this creature teaches you the way, and basically you have to, well, shine your sparkling up, except you lose about an energy tank and a half. At least an energy tank and a half. Very annoying, but whatever. I really hope Dread does not bring this back. Seriously, that was so fucking dumb of this game to do that, but it is the first of its kind, and I'm very much glad that they made it a lot more simpler in Fusion. I just wish the level design was not as linear, but whatever. The game is still great. I know the game, people complain that the game is too linear, which I don't really care, honestly. The game is still a lot of fun. It's very fun to play through. Honestly, people need to go with the fact, just because the game is linear means I hate it. I don't hate games that are linear, okay? Time Splitters, for instance, its story mode is very linear, but the thing that makes the game unique is that you have various time periods. The game uses time travel, and probably one of the only games I've ever played where time travel actually makes full of its use of being super serious. You have plenty of weapons for the time periods, plenty of characters a la Quake 3 and all that stuff. It's such a good game. There's even co-op for the story mode as well, so you can get even more replayability. Not to mention the difficulties actually make a fucking difference. And not just inflating damage or some shit. They actually make you work for it. But anyway, this is a part of the video where I do quite a bit of trimming because this section I tried to go for a particular power-up, but I didn't get it. And basically there's this room where you have to, as I mentioned earlier, you have to go through a sea of water, but because you can't wall jump out of it, which is really fucking dumb, I chose to skip it because it was really a big waste of time. So you're going to see me get this item, and then in a couple seconds you're going to be seeing a clip where I just, you know, go back, because there really wasn't anything that you may have missed, not to my knowledge. So you're going to see me do that, and well, any second. Yep, there we go. And he said it took a lot of fucking damage to the fucking boulders and shit, so yeah. Don't do what I did, kids. Don't do that. But thank God for video editing, because if this was live, well, you'd be wasting a lot of fucking time, so. Okay, now that we have left the imposter Brinstar, we can go ahead and... Wait, I think I'm, like, filling up items. That's not gonna work, dude. What the fuck are you doing? Like, seriously, what the fuck kind of smoking... What the fuck kind of smoke was I on that day? Like, holy fuck. I think I'm trying to, like, recharge or something. I'm like, wait a minute, wasn't there just a fucking area I could go to? But anyway, since I'm being recharged for a couple of seconds, I do want to mention some other stuff, actually. So, this is another cut that I believe I made where... Oh no, wait, that's later, I think. But there is a cut that I make where I try to do some more exploring, but it turns out that that particular area, you can't really do a lot, unfortunately, so I ended up trimming that out, since you need a gravity suit for that area, and you also need a speed booster as well, so I do end up trimming that out, sadly, and I once again fall into the black hole of doom. So I'm gonna try to go over here, and I'm like, yeah, this is... I think this is where I'm going, yeah. Okay, I remember now. I'm like, wait, why the hell should I go over there? So this is actually intentional. Yeah, this is how to show you how fucking stupid I am right now. Like, holy fuck. But anyway, go ahead and get the edge if you need it. Just remember that you will lose about a good chunk of your health if you do that, but since you have a lot of energy tanks, especially since with the first part, the first legitimate part giving you an extra energy tank, you should have no problems. Like, seriously, that extra energy tank will make all the difference in the world, baby. Excuse me. Anyway, now that we have done exploring that section, we're now going to go ahead and explore a newer part as soon as I'm done fucking around. Oh yeah, this is another item I believe I'm going for. The Super Missile, which, yes, I know you can get this earlier, but I don't care. I really don't care. I'd rather just take the boredom and just move on. I even tried doing the mock ball trick, and I just can't do it. I don't know how the fuck to do it. It's very elaborate shit, and I'm a stubborn son of a bitch who gets carpal tunnel from fucking playing Meridia because of that bullshit with the quicksand. Seriously, this just bothers me. Seriously, I need to rewatch Trav's review of that, and it's like, the fucking quicksand in there just ruins the game for me, like, seriously. Anyway, we got our first reserve tank. These essentially act as energy tanks from Mega Man, or to be more specific, Mega Man X, since you actually have to fill them up, and you can actually either use them manually, or you can have it set to use when you die. It's kind of like the fairies from The Legend of Zelda, which is kind of cool, actually, but we're not going to be using that. I'm going to try not to use them anyway, but they can come in handy. But, of course, you will have to fold them up. And, yes, you can use the ship to fill up your reserve tank as well. And I'm kind of curious that no other Metroid game besides Samus Returns with that shitty amiibo bullshit actually makes its grand appearance in another Metroid game. Probably because people are like, oh, it makes it too easy. Seriously, not even Zero Mission has that, and yet it's actually a lot more interesting that it didn't have it, since that game is really hard in its hard mode. Like, seriously, the game is so fucking hard, it's not even funny. It's about as hard as my cock right now. I'm looking up fucking Samus Aran porn right now. Holy fuck. This one's spicy. Anyway, I believe I go here again in order to fill up my missiles, I believe, or just fucking around. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, honestly. But I do know that I am getting all my stuff. Why the fuck did I not trim this out? Like, what the fuck am I doing? To quote Carl Johnson from Grand Theft Auto, what in fuck's name are you doing? Oh wait, no, I think I was getting power bombs. Oh yeah, now I remember. We have to go down here. This is actually another section of the game that really threw me off when I was a kid, honestly. Playing this back on ZSNES, which is the emulator I'm actually using, which explains some of the graphical bugs. So it's not that bad. There might be a couple here and there, but that might be because of OBS, I believe, and just how shitty it is, but I don't really mind it. It's stable, it works. It might not be the best quality, but I don't really care. All reliable, as they say. And I try to do a fucking bomb jump, except there is apparently a block, and as you can see, it does show all the goodies, so yeah, we can't go there, so we're gonna have to say fucking just go to the left. Gamer's Instinct always has to go left. Now this room definitely threw me quite a loop, as I do some fancy footwork with the charge beam, which is always nice. Nice little tech. I hope that does get returned into Metroid Dread, but I highly doubt it. As I go back for some fucking reason. What the fuck are you doing, play? You son of a bitch. Anyway, this room can be really tricky. You have to do like a very weird jump, and if you miss, you end up falling, and you're kind of fucked when it happens, since I believe there's a crumbling floor that appears, and you're just kind of fucked. But doing this will not only get you an energy tank, but you can also get a super missile, which you need, because they're very powerful, they can do a lot of damage, and they're just really, really good. Seriously, they're so fucking good. And, funny enough, there's nothing in here. I think it's another one that's actually there. It's like, hey, here's a missile tank, except here's another one, you fucking assholes. But yeah, you see that shit? If I didn't make that jump, you'd be fucked. You could probably save yourself by using a very well-timed wall jump, but unfortunately, I did not have to do that. Or fortunately. Why did I say unfortunately? That makes it sound like a bad thing. It's not. I know what's up. A very tricky, very dangerous trap. At least not instant death. It's just it just costs you a lot of time if you mess up, though, so you do have to be careful. Anyway, we finally get introduced to the other animal friends, which will teach you how to wall jump, but we know how to do that shit. In fact, we're so good at it, we can fucking wall jump all the way up to the left, go into this little corner, and get ourselves a fucking power bomb. The power bomb. It's so bad. No, that's the power glove. Fuck. No, I think they actually referenced that in A Link to the Past, actually. It's one of the pops you can get, the power glove. That's actually kind of cool, actually. So that doesn't look exactly the same, but it is kind of cool that they use the same name with one of the abilities in A Link to the Past, which is kind of cool, but I believe it's around here, I believe, where, yeah, I go through here. It's not necessary, but I do it anyway. If you go up that door, you just lead to a dead end, but I wanted to be fancy and uncover part of the map, so there you go. But that is not much else to show off, I think, as far as I'm concerned. I think I end up going back, I think, in order to get that part. I goes, okay, I have a full tank. Let me try to go back, but then I'm like, nah, it's not going to work. So I guess just for the rest of this video, I'll probably talk about some other bullshit, because I don't think anything too important, I think. So I'm just going to ramble a little bit more. So what I'm really hoping for Metroid Dread is that it retains the level design of Super without the linearity of Fusion. That would totally suck. I don't know, Metroid Dread is supposed to be the sequel to Metroid Fusion, and I'm really curious how they're going to have characters from Other M, which we don't talk about because the game is fucking terrible. Well, maybe not the gameplay is terrible, but the story is so terrible that it really does botch up how Samus as a character has developed so long, and yet fucking Team Ninja was allowed to do that. Like, they ruined Final Fantasy, and in fact, they ruined it so much, they're even allowed to do it again, which is surprising, because they fucking ruined the city up. And yet, I think it was either E3 or something, where they're working on a fucking game that's supposed to be like Neo and Final Fantasy. It's just like, why? They literally ruined the last one. Like, all they had to do for Dissidia was to bring the PSP games back on there, maybe have local multiplayer and online, and you had a fucking bestseller. But no, they made it into an arcade game, which doesn't really work anymore. At least fucking Namco did that shit decent with Pokken Tournament, and yet that was just even more questionable since to use a fucking controller on an arcade game, which is just weird as hell, but whatever. And I just have no idea what the fuck they were doing. Like, seriously, what the fuck? Like, I have no idea what the fuck Harada was thinking with that shit. It's just so unbearably bad. And I believe I'm going here because I wanted to show off something. I don't remember, but this is the room that I'm going to be going to later, and yeah, I think I end up not skipping it. That's the area I was talking about, to show you where that thing is, but I do skip it because there's just not much reason to go there, so you're going to be seeing another elevator trim. So, that's that. And I believe for the rest of the video, I'm actually gonna be going to one more area, I believe, which is this one puzzle, which I forgot to do, which involves using the ice beam, and freezing the floor in order to create a floor in which the speed booster through, do a famous shine spark, and get to the top in order to do some really good shit, but you need a power bomb in order to open it, apparently, which sucks, so I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Oh yeah, I don't have any more. I'm like, shit, what the fuck? Why do I always do that? Seriously, you definitely don't want to make power bombs. Always make sure you unequip that shit, because you're gonna run into situations like this, and I'm like, ah, fuck, what the fucking... Scavenge through to find a fucking power bomb. Really annoying. What the fuck am I doing? Goddamn fucker. Son of a bitch. Probably quit Ox Jones right now, it would probably cause fucking age community strike, whatever the fuck. I don't even know anymore. So, but what I'm really hoping that Metroid Dread does is that, despite being a nearly 2-decade-year sequel to Metroid Fusion, I really hope that characters that appeared in Other M get some closure. I'm pretty sure they're technically canon, even though Team Ninja fucking ruined them all, which I'm not very happy about, but whatever. Like, again, with fucking Final Fantasy, they could have just taken the PSP Dissidia games. They're really great, by the way, especially Duodecim. That's like the greatest PSP game ever made. It is essentially the crossover version of Final Fantasy that we're never going to get again, because fucking they rather have a free-to-play game that has really shitty DLC and even a fucking second season pass that has nothing at all, which is fucking hilarious. Oh wait, there actually is one more item I do get. It's actually the missile expansion here, which I really should have gotten that other one actually, which is underwater, but I didn't do that for some reason, so I don't know what the fuck I was doing. I think I did that at the moment, I think, because like, wait a minute, why am I going over there? I need to fill my shit, so yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to go do. I really wish I could optimize this guide a lot better, though. I really kind of feel like I'm not doing a good job at this, but I really like this game. I just wish that... I don't know. Oh shit, actually, bring with the map? What the fuck? Like, but yeah, I really wish I could have done this guide a lot better, honestly. Like, it started fine, I guess, but then it's like, as I started playing more and more, I just felt like I've been making so many mistakes. And I'm not going to delete the whole thing. I'm not going to pull Big Benedict, even though I love his videos. I will always watch them. And I want to pass on the torch. Anyway, we're finally gonna get the last piece of the puzzle, which I believe is this little puzzle as I get fucked by that stupid slime shit, which you have to use the, I think the plasma beam, but we don't get that till until way later. And because Phantoon is such a bitch, which I'll talk about a little bit more in the next installment, I'm gonna do it the cheap-ass way by using the spazer with the beam. And I almost managed to get it, but I somehow missed my shot, and I was really upset by that. Like, what the fuck are you doing, player? You piece of shit. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? You sons of bitches. But anyway, if you get the plasma, you can get this a lot easier, so save on that. But if you absolutely need to do that, just, you know, first of all, if you mess up, just leave the room. You can actually do that, so that's nice. But use the charge beam, since I believe you can take out 2 of them at once. And once you get all 4 of them frozen, you then go ahead and use the... Fuck. What are you doing, player? You piece of shit. Why did you leave this in? What the fuck? What an asshole. But yeah, retain some distance. Or actually, just use the diagonal shot to get some ground if you want to be a cheap ass about it. Shine Spark up. Get the super missile. You definitely don't want to miss that because that puzzle's pretty tricky. It's really simple with the plasma beam since that can go through enemies, while the wave beam can go through objects but not through enemies. As we get introduced to another lovely piece of the puzzle, which is the grappling beam puzzle, which thankfully is pretty simple, all things considered. Just use your pitfall experience to get through, and there really isn't much left to talk about, honestly. This video is kind of long, and I really apologize for my longer than usual ranting. But yeah, the only thing left to do is to just go to this ship and save our game. There really isn't much left to talk about, honestly. In the next video, we're definitely going to be going after Phantoon, which I have a very interesting story to tell when we get to him, because I swear to God, his spirit lives on in this guided walkthrough. I'll explain when we get to him, but we're almost done with this game. I hope I can get this out in time. If not, then I hope this will help someone who wants to play this game. I know nobody's going to want to be playing this after fucking Dread comes out because, you know, Metroid Dread's going to be the hottest new thing. I mean, they did that for Samus Returns, so that was on 3DS, and this is on Switch, and everybody has a fucking Switch now. Well, anyone who's not anyone who doesn't have a lot of money. But anyway, in the next installment, as I just said, we'll be going after Phantoon. Got a funny little story and some more ranting because we're going to be talking a lot more about Meridia, one of my least favorite areas in this fucking game, which is a good game. A good fucking game, but Meridia can suck a fucking ass. Anyway, thanks for watching, and you take care.